Hello, this is Bill Bremer, registered piano technician in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm seated at a very modest Spinet type piano. Today, the brand is Grand, and there are actually very few of these left because this was one of the types of pianos that the manufacturer itself didn't really expect to last much longer than 15 to 20 years. So most of them that have been built are no longer in service because they collapsed. And indeed, this piano, you can see this bolt here, somebody put that all the way through to the back just to hold this thing together. So it's not a very good piano. However, I have been taking care of this piano for, I don't really know, at least 20 years, something like that. So I'm going to do what I would do with any vertical piano at first and put in a muting strip. So I'm going to start with the treble section, and you just put the strip in the way that you would on the rest of the piano, above the dampers at first. Then naturally where it is right now, you can't use it because the hammers would strike the felt. So you go here to the highest damper and you lift with your fingers and tuck the mute down under the dampers. Now there's a very few pianos where the dampers do not come back very far, and they're also very fragile. So you have to be very careful with that kind of piano. Yamaha and Kawai, possibly Youngchang comes to mind, 80s vintage. And you might just not want to try to put the mute under the dampers in that part of the piano. Now with the strip that has a tapered end, step on the damper pedal first, and then start inserting the tapered end up at the top of the middle or tenor section of the piano. And then for the bass end, this piano has only a relatively few bass bichords. And so you insert the strip after the second string that you see, and then count 1, 2, 3, 4 and enter. 1, 2, 3, 4 and enter. 1, 2, 3, 4 and enter. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 and enter again. Now you can see here that blocks this highest single string. So in order to tune it, you have to pull the strip out, of course. And I'll just put the free end of that up there like that. Now, an issue with this particular piano is going to be the pitch. It was designed supposedly to be tuned at standard pitch, but because of any number of issues, really the relative weakness of the whole thing, I've always pitched the piano at -20 or A435. It's not played with any other instruments. There's no particular requirement that it be tuned at A440. And even though I prefer to tune any piano at A440, it's not a matter of turning the tuning pins. It's a matter of what the instrument itself is able to accept. So I'm just going to use my electronic tuning device to measure the pitch where it is. And it says -40. So it's considerably low in pitch. So I have to do a 20-cent pitch raise on this piano just to get it to -20. So it's really quite a severe situation. So let me see, if I need 20, I'm going to set the initial A at -12, expecting that it will drop back to -20 when I'm all done. Place the hammer on the tuning pin. You can find the tuning pin that you need to put the hammer on just by pressing the hammer, seeing the string, and following it up. And then, of course, it's going to be the middle of this set of 3 strings. Now, I use an impact type technique to manipulate the tuning pins. I don't put the hammer on and then slowly turn. See, and it took very little effort for me to do that. I just basically let my hand fall on the knob of this tuning hammer. So I don't need the electronic tuning device anymore right now, so I'll just close it and put it away. I move down to the A below. Tune a nice, clean sounding octave. I have a very wide third now. So I estimate my first major third. With that alone, I'm satisfied that that's good enough at this point, for at least for this pitch raise tuning, but it was really fairly accurate. So the sequence that I will use, I call the up a third, down a fifth. So that's up a third and then down a fifth. Right now I have a pure sounding fifth, so I need to narrow it. So I will sharpen the lower note and thus narrow it. And what we're looking for as far as sound goes is really just a slightly impure fifth. It is an estimate, but there's already a check for it. I hear a rapid minor third. But curiously enough, it's about the same speed as the F4A4. Sounds kind of like traffic noise, but that gives me a good indication that my estimate is either absolutely correct or very close. So now, up a third, but I tune it from F below as a fourth. seem to have some nice progression there, but if I didn't, what I could do is return to the F sharp and adjust the tempering there, and then do the B flat and adjust the tempering there until I heard a nice smooth progression. So up a third, up a third. So I have a nice progression there between those two thirds. Down a fifth. And I have another minor third here that I can compare to the one next to it. And I like that sound. Up a third. Up a third. And down a fifth. And I have another minor third here. Sounding good. Up a third. Okay, right